Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and today I've got something pretty cool to show you. This is the Impervious browser. This is what I'm going to show you today. And the Impervious browser is an internet browser, just like a regular sort of browser like Chrome or Firefox, except this one is built on top of the Bitcoin protocol. That means there is zero data collection. You can do a whole bunch of really cool stuff. So I'm going to show you that. Just before we get into this, I want to point out the difference between layer 1, 2 and layer 3 protocols. So a layer 1 blockchain refers to the underlying blockchain architecture. So this is the Bitcoin base layer in this case. This is BTC. Okay, probably all familiar with that. Layer 2 blockchain refers to the various protocols that are built on top of layer 1 to improve the original blockchain's functionality. So examples of Bitcoin layer 2 would be something like Lightning or Liquid. What this does is it takes a very strong and immutable base layer. And what this enables is, instead of having to go back into the base layer and change the underlying code and architecture, we can keep that the same so that everyone knows and trusts it, and we know it works and we know it's proven. And instead, if we want to make any updates to improve, we can do this by building on top, thus keeping the base layer unchanged. So an example of this would be Lightning. We could send Bitcoin regularly and wait for 10-minute block times and confirmations, or we can build Lightning on top, and this means we can settle Bitcoin remittances instantly. Moving up to layer 3, layer 3 is represented by blockchain-based applications, such as decentralized finance, DeFi apps, games, or distributed storage apps. So the example given here for Bitcoin layer 3 is Impervious. Impervious is built on top of Lightning, which is built on top of Bitcoin. And funny enough, this is basically how the internet works. They layer the internet in a very similar fashion. So what is Impervious? Well, Impervious is a Lightning native web browser. It's free, it's open source, there is zero data collection. By building it on top of layer 2, a layer 3 app doesn't congest the Bitcoin protocol. It keeps it running as if layer 3 isn't even there. It also means that anyone can still choose to operate a node without having to incur any massive costs or a huge barrier to entry in terms of the complications and the technicalities. So you can still run a node for less than $200, and if you're a bit more tech savvy, you can do it for cheaper than that. So it's significantly more accessible than almost all other blockchains. And most importantly, it will not compromise the underlying base layer. If you want to continue to use Bitcoin, you can indeed do that regardless of the stuff built on top of it. So Impervious browser. Here is a functionality overview. The way this has been marketed is, this is like Zoom, but without Zoom. Google Docs without Google. Medium without Medium. WhatsApp without WhatsApp. Payments without banks. Identity without the state. And all without centralized intermediaries and built into the Impervious browser. So many of these things had already been built on Bitcoin. Impervious, this new web browser which I'm about to show you, aggregates all of these into one place for ease of use. So the Impervious APIs enable any application or service to stream cryptographically secure, censorship and surveillance resistant data transmission channels. Impervious is building the tools and infrastructure for the peer-to-peer internet. So I'm just going to flash over some of this stuff for you. Secure peer-to-peer messaging. Think WhatsApp without WhatsApp. Now, it is no secret ever since Edward Snowden that everything you ever say, do, or look at on the internet or on a smartphone is recorded and is accessible should you give somebody higher up the motivation to go looking for it. We also know, in a world of ever-increasing tyranny, with the rollout of CBDCs, digital IDs and social credit scores, there really is a demand for this sort of thing. Bitcoin, as I often say, is humanity's hope at freedom, at saying no to the CBDCs. And now it appears Bitcoin is not just hope for that, but it's also hope at refusing things like government-monitored WhatsApp messages, government-monitored text messages, communications, so on and so forth. Within the Impervious browser, we have integrated cryptographically secure messaging. We also have decentralized real-time peer-to-peer communication between browsers and DIDs, which is a decentralized ID, secure communication between peer groups, no third-party intermediaries to survey, capture, or censor messages. All inbound and outbound messages are cryptographically signed and verified by respective parties for authenticated message integrity, and secure peer-to-peer file transfer. So it's not just messaging, we're also talking about supporting audio, video, and real-time data transmission. Group video and audio calls are also possible, like Google Hangouts or Zoom. We also have decentralized and local storage. Files can be encrypted and stored locally in both web browser and designated encrypted system database. Files can be published to an anonymous, publicly accessible, decentralized data store. We also have peer-to-peer collaborative workspaces. So this is like Google Docs, but without Google. We're talking real-time peer-to-peer collaborative workspaces for document creation, editing, and publishing. Create, collaborate, and share documents directly from within the Impervious browser, a Google Docs-esque experience, but without any data collection and any surveillance and any censorship whatsoever. You get to decide who has read and write privileges. You get to share documents privately amongst authorized peers without unauthorized users or third parties being aware of files' existence. We have seen during the last 2 years that the governments around the world have been stepping up the censorship, have been stepping up the surveillance, have even been lobbying and pressuring corporations to do the same. This Bitcoin thing is a lot bigger than most people realize. I want to say before I move on, I encourage you to go and view this in your own time, because I'm just pulling the highlights out, because otherwise this video will be very long. But I do encourage you to go and check this out for yourself. Things like newsletters, subscription and direct content monetization, Medium without Medium, are also possible on top of Bitcoin. You can self-host and serve newsletters, blogs and subscriptions, all without relying on intermediaries. This means you get to own your own data and original content. I think Facebook, and I don't know because I don't have Facebook, but I'm pretty sure I remember hearing somewhere, maybe someone can confirm or disprove this in the comments, but I'm pretty sure if you upload a photo to Facebook or Instagram, then technically speaking, they own that photo, you do not. Again, I'm not really sure about that point. If someone could correct me or confirm that in the comments, I'd appreciate it. But this is not going to be a thing thanks to the Impervious browser. You get to publish and monetize premium content, and of course, you can create, pay, and verify via Lightning. We also have decentralized identities, DIDs. This is identity online, which of course you need. It's important to point this out. You have to have some level of identity. You have to have something that makes you you online, so that you can identify that you are a different user from somebody else, so that you can keep your documents, your things, whatever they may be, to you and not have other people access them. It's important to have an identity, some sort of login. The problem comes when the state decides that it wants to give everyone an identity and monitor everything and control everything and dominate everything that they do. And going forward in the future, we're likely to see those governments apply those thumb screws even tighter. We're likely to see these governments start to take this wildly beyond what is reasonable and moral. Impervious offers identity, but without the state, without the surveillance, without the censorship, and without the data collection. This is true cryptographic ownership of a decentralized user identity. You can create private identities to be shared privately amongst peers. I want to point this out, that this is coming at a time when they are thinking about making everybody pay for things like Twitter in order to, quote unquote, fight the bots. I showed recently in a video that over in Australia, they are proposing a new system that requires 100 points of identification just to be able to have a social media account. We are moving into a time where there will be absolutely no anonymity whatsoever, no privacy whatsoever. Again, Bitcoin and Impervious fixes this. And lastly, we also have decentralized communication, allowing you to manage and control several communication points of contact with your decentralized identity. It allows for communication points of contact to be publicly discoverable or remain private and exclusively accessible via trusted peers. So with all that said, what does this browser look like? Well, this is your portal to the P2P internet. You can download the Impervious browser from impervious.ai. You can see it here. This is sort of what it looks like. I'm about to show you in just a minute. If you want to unlock secure messaging, group video calls, live documents, decentralized identifiers, if you want to use a browser with zero data collection, zero surveillance, that is censorship resistant and is built on the best money and the hardest form of currency the planet has ever seen, then perhaps this is the browser for you. I'm about to launch that browser. I'll do that for you now. So here we go. I'm inside the browser. You are able to connect to a Lightning wallet or run a Lightning node, and you can see all the available things. So I encourage you to go ahead and play around with this in your own time. And you can see right here, it functions just like a regular web browser. So you can come in here and go and visit your favorite websites. Bitcoin continues to change the world. Bitcoin continues to improve the world. I'm your boy Camel. If you found value here today, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again in the near future. In the meantime, take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.